just last year, we finally got a remake of Persona 3 in the form of Reload, a very long anticipated remake of the game. And now people are wondering what's next for the Persona series, whether that's Persona 6 or another remake. And today it seems like we got a strong indication on what it's going to be, and some of you may not be too happy about it, because it's a game that a lot of people don't think actually needs a remake. That is, of course, Persona 4, and things indicate that it could be coming a lot sooner than any of us originally anticipated. And this is despite the fact that whenever you look back on the Atlas survey, when they surveyed fans on which remakes they most wanted to see, Persona 3 and Persona 2 Duology tied. They both come in first place, followed by Persona 1, and in fourth place, Persona 4. Atlas has indeed found a way to make Persona 4 last forever. But first, I want to save you some money on the latest games. You can get Atelier Yumiya through our sponsor Instant Gaming for only $50, and you can get the Ultimate Edition for only $85. Instant Gaming is an authorized code reseller that brings you games at a much cheaper price. They also allow us to give away a free game every month. All you have to do is click the link in the description or pinned comment, hit participate, and you're entered to win. Previous winners have gotten Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, Metaphor, Dragon Quest III, and you can be next. So be sure to check Instant Gaming out with the link below. So according to Faz here, the Persona 4 Remake domain has just been registered, with him saying, quote, P4re.jp was registered a few hours ago. 2 years ago, P3re.jp was registered. 3 months later, Persona 3 Reload was revealed. So Atlas has already registered the domain. It's worth noting that that's usually done when an announcement is coming very soon. Now, I know some people are speculating maybe this will come with the Nintendo Direct. The Persona games are finally on Nintendo platforms, and assuming that this is going to launch on all platforms just as Reload did, minus the Nintendo Switch, it would make for a huge reveal there. Of course, we know that there is a very strong chance that Persona 3 Reload will be a launch title for the Switch 2, so whether or not they will reveal it there, we will know not too long from now. But it's not just this. There are other indicators that Persona 4 Remake is in development. Singer Shihoko Harada, best known for Persona 4, revealed she's recording for an unannounced game. Her photo shows MIT Studio 2 in Tokyo, the same one for Persona 5 Strikers recording making of, and where most Persona soundtracks of the past decade were recorded, with her Instagram post saying, "Recording for a new game today. The piece is pretty tough, so I'm a bit nervous about getting it right, but I'll do my best." So recording music in general is something that tends to happen much later into a game's development. Registering a domain usually happens when a game is going to be announced soon. All of these things indicate that Persona 4 Remake could be about a year out. Now, this isn't the first time we've gotten confirmation of a Persona 4 Remake. While putting it lightly, Midori turned out to be not quite the person that everyone thought, let's just say. He did end up having a lot of legitimate information, and though all of those tweets are gone now, they've been archived and the articles wrote about them, like this one from GamerRank saying, quote, "According to a tweet from Atlas Insider Midori, a Persona 4 Remake is still currently in development, but in response to an individual asking about the status of the rumored project, Midori tells fans to please wait for a while. This likely means that it may be several years until fans get official confirmation of the game's alleged existence. Given games have long development cycles these days, chances are this rumored remake of Persona 4 might not even be released during the current console generation. As such, those hoping to get their hands on this game may want to hold their breath in regard to a potential release as early as 2025 or 2026. Thing is though, Persona 3 and Persona 4 actually released almost exactly 2 years apart from each other, with Persona 4 having an 18-month development cycle. A large part of this is that, one, games back then didn't take nearly as long to develop, but also that it likely reused a ton of code from Persona 3 and allowed them to make Persona 4 much faster. What if I told you that the reason that we're getting Persona 4 next is likely because they're doing the exact same thing with Persona 3 Reload, taking much of the code and assets and using that to make Persona 4. These are fairly similar games in terms of structure. They're randomly generated dungeons, the calendar system, all these things. You could take Persona 3 Reload's code and repurpose it for Persona 4 fairly quickly, especially if that has always been the plan, which is actually what I'm betting. They always planned to remake Persona 3 and 4 together, and I think that likely they've considered it and made code flexible enough to apply to both games. This means that we could see an incredibly fast turnaround for Persona 4, and this is also why they chose doing Persona 4 next over Persona 1 and 2, games that are very different, and they couldn't just use things that they've already made from Reload, for example. So I definitely think remakes of Persona 1 and 2 duology are on the way eventually, but it absolutely makes sense that they would do Persona 4 first. And what if I told you this isn't the first time that we've seen something exactly like this? Resident Evil 2 Remake came out in 2019, and then shortly after, Resident Evil 3 Remake. And that's because everything that was made for Resident Evil 2 could generally carry over to Resident Evil 3 code-wise, and so they were able to make another game incredibly fast. I think that's exactly what we see happening here with P3 and P4. You know, personally, I have a lot of love for Persona 4. I think it is an awesome game. I do think that 5 and 3 do place a little bit higher for me because I think the story is a little bit stronger in those games. But where I think 4 really beats out the other Persona games is just purely on vibes, man. Inaba has like an amazing vibe. The cast of characters is just so lovable. And I really think that Persona 4 in general is just a really unforgettable game. But man, the one thing that I'm really thinking of when it comes to this remake is the golden content going to be included in the remake from the start. Now, I imagine golden content with Marie will not be DLC. Not because I think Atlus is not going to be greedy on this one, but purely because whenever you look at the structure of the game, it's not really something that you can release as DLC. I mean, if you do release it as DLC, it would have to be something that is like a new game plus thing that you'd go back through the game and experience. But the content from Persona 4 Golden is pretty baked into the game. Or maybe their answer would be doing a brand new DLC for Persona 4 rather than just doing, you know, Persona 4 Golden content again, like something actually new. I have no idea whether they would do that or not, but I do think that Golden content is going to be included in this one, just because I don't see any other way around it. Of course, this part of the video is going to age horrendously when the game does get announced, and it is actually just a remake of base PS2 Persona 4. Of course, that leaves a very big question. What's happening with this guy? What's happening with Persona 6? You know, it's just been so long from P5 to P6, and we still don't even have a P6 announcement yet. It's starting to get really frustrating that we still don't know anything about this game at all. And it seems like a Persona 4 Rewind is going to come out in 2026, just next year. Then when will Persona 6 come out? There's no way they would launch a Persona 4 Remake and Persona 6 at the same time. At least I don't think they would. That doesn't seem like a good idea to me, but it's not impossible. I suppose they did launch Persona 3 Reload and Metaphor ReFantazio both in the same year. However, one thing that we know for sure is that Atlus is indeed working on Persona 6 at the very least. Faz reporting, quote, "On the new Atlus Recruiter website, an image can be seen with the Google Chrome folder called XRD768. This is the rumored internal project code for Persona 6. This is again something that we've learned from infamous leaker Midori, who had reported previously that XRD768 was the codename for Persona 6, and now we are currently seeing it here. So it does indeed seem that that turned out to be real information. In either case, I am really looking forward to whatever Atlus has cooking, and I'll be sure to bring you guys all the updates as they come. So hit that subscribe button, tell me in the comments below if you are excited for Persona 4 Remake, or if you're mad that it's not Persona 2, be sure to check out Instant Gaming, and I will see you all in the next video. Later, guys.